But I digress. Because in the same time and location that these ideas about him are converging in me, Brenda's ex-boyfriend catches his reflection in the bulletproof glass of the post office counter, and consequently sees me standing behind him, craning my neck, trying to read the tattoo on the back of his neck. And he turns around and he says to me, "Piss off, you little wanker." At which point, this convergence of ideas results in a bottleneck. That is my neck, if you will. And now I need to release some of them into the world as a kind of unthinking, reflexive response to aggression. In short, I start blabbering on in a kind of Tourette's shower of verbal dribbling in a vain attempt to make light conversation on anything and everything but the sensitive man's tattoo. You know how someone's always going on about how bad is good for you with all the logic of some abstaining vow of silence, self-help ideology inflated into a 3-minute YouTube clip about some mistranslated, Kabbalah-coded hodgepodge and supposedly explains everything while filling up your brain with paranoia about mind control, the evolution of consciousness, and what you should really think it means to be human? And you think, oh, yeah, sure, that sounds sensible. Although, if you're anything like me, with the image of middle age staring back at you out of the mirror, the one big self-evident truth is that no amount of preening can deflect the reality of the Earth's gravitational pull and its effect on the fat storage systems that eventually sag under the increasing weight of personal expectation, let alone the weaker force of gravity, resulting in situations like your wrinkle. Oh, no, I wasn't going to go there. I mean your tattoo, obviously, the wrong thing. Have you noticed the weather lately? Luckily, my other alternate defense mechanisms kick in, though not the runaway adrenal response usually associated with survival instinct. That has been subsumed by the greater instinct not to lose my place in the queue. So naturally, I carry on. Even if I say so myself, being an old man, not worth bothering with, I can safely say that age just keeps right on coming and sort of smothers ideas in a blanketing sense of finality as much as frustration. You know what I mean? The idea that all things come to pass also means they pass you by. Yeah, which if it's a parade is fun, right? Don't get me wrong. Life isn't all bad. The brass bands, the baton twirling teens, the clowns, the floats, the tractors, horses, youth marching right through the middle of town, right through the middle of life. But I digress. Fortunately, the queue shifts onward as we shuffle forward, while his irritation with me is superseded by the queuing instinct too. And he steps up to counter number 3. So, I turn to the dozen or so comrades in the queue behind me, my captured audience, so to speak, just such as you, in fact. And without missing a beat, I can't help but carry on. What is it about us that makes modern reality culture what it is? This kind of selection of the fittest is decided by media millionaires who know how to make a dollar sing, "Oh, to dream a dream," who have convinced people to pay, to say yes or no, and no more. And note, their individual participation is a faceless face in a crowd of millions doing the same thing and paying for it because there's something about that one person up there that we love and want to dream a dream along with no matter what. And besides, the people making all the money off the back of your phone bills are the ones you really hate, but somehow you feel emboldened by the thought that they cannot stop you voting, expressing yourself, because this is a free country, and anyway, you can switch over to something else anytime you want. Just like you could give up smoking. Besides which, nobody said life was going to be easy, which is hardly, have I got news for you, territory. In fact, this is what you're reminded of every day, and so at the end of the day, if paying to say what you think helps someone you like the manufactured image of who has all the ambition and drive of a frustrated beauty contestant, combined with an aura of innocence which you know deep down is entirely corruptible, and someday you will read about how their life has fallen apart because of the pressures of fame and the constant invasion of their privacy by people paid to give you up-to-date information on how they haven't had anywhere near the success they should have had since you helped launch their career in the first place. And somebody must be to blame because you did your bit. While we think up ideas like there's no tomorrow and wait patiently for ages, whether for a postage stamp or to use the loo or even to Hey, you at the counter! You know I've been waiting here for ages? When's it gonna be my turn, huh? You know, you can't help thinking that the whole process has gotten a little bit less interesting than it was when it first started. And standing in line for so bloody long has made you nothing more than a little more cynical about this whole civility thing that supposedly helps to bond the community together. But I digress, because this time Brenda's ex has left the queue and the counter, and as he disappears outside the post office, he's begun to leave my imagination and its many simultaneous ideas too. And the thought occurs to me that ideas are only reflections of being, shadows cast by the intangibility of passing moments. They are forever, like the head and the heart, eternal. And for now, for better or worse, this particular train of thought must stop, because it's finally my turn, and I must step up to the counter. Hi there. Yes, I'd like to send these items second class. Thank you. Oh, and I've got this giant bag of pennies I'd like to exchange for a £20 note. They have to be counted? Well, there's no rush. But I digress. My name is Mac Dunlop, and thanks for listening. Bye for now.